today we're doing part 6 of the bow making tutorial, and today we're using the ProBow. We're not going to get to the tree topper bow today, but I promise you I will cover it next week. So just staying with the theme of what we've done, which is when we started from the very beginning and I showed you how to do a hand-tied bow. We kind of did a little stack method there. It was like, here's how to make the bow, but without a bow maker. And then we got into the Bowdabra, making my bow making recipe formula on the Bowdabra. And then we went and did the exact same bow on an easy bow maker. And so now we're going to do the same thing using a ProBow. So to show you that all of them will yield you something similar, and it's all just going to depend on you as a creative. Which one do you want to use the most? Which one's going to benefit you? Now, using the ProBow today, it's the higher price point out of the three. I think the Bowdabra started at 30, 32, and then the Easy Bow Maker went up to 39, and I think this one's priced at the mid 40 range, but this one allows you to do much bigger bows like tree topper bows, whereas the other ones, those will be a little bit of a challenge to try to pull that off. So we'll cover that next week. So housekeeping items, if you want to save a copy of this tutorial and you're on YouTube, just make sure you hit the save button. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the share button. That'll do a copy paste from my Facebook page to your Facebook page. Just make sure you download it within 30 days. Otherwise, you need to pop back over to YouTube and grab it there. Also, turning live notifications on. If you were on YouTube, just subscribe. Hit the little subscription bell. Click the subscribe button. Gives you an opportunity to be notified whenever I'm doing a live tutorial. If you're interested in joining my private group, head on over to CatsCreationsandMore.com. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat so you guys have that information handy. Because if you like tutorials like this, you'll find the private group is definitely along the lines of what you want as a wreath maker, whether it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, all of the things. If you need to know all of the things, come join the private group. And you can also do it from YouTube. There's a little pop-up that says, hey, want to join my private group? You can pick which level depending upon what you want out of the private group benefits, and pick your monthly rate there. Okay, that's it. I'm going to pivot you down. We're going to go ahead and start. So this is what we're working with today. This is called ProBow The Hand. I have the large model. What the large model does is it gives you, some people who have the really old ProBow actually have a letter G. I do not. Letter A is for mini hair bows. And then depending upon the size of your loops, you're going to pick, obviously, row F will yield you that tree topper bow. So we're going to go mid-range because this should put you in alignment with my bow recipe. So each one of these things, I call them pegs. Regina Sellers, who created this design, calls these fingers, which is the same thing, but for me, I just refer to them as pegs. You get large pegs, medium pegs, and then obviously the small ones. And what I mean by medium and small, it's just they size down. They're the same size as these, but only half. And then you have the mini ones. It has rubberized feet on the bottom. It has a little nail here in the center, which you're going to find all of that fun stuff out. And then this also comes with a spool holder. So if you wanted to, like when we're doing tree topper bows, you can have all your 3 rolls of ribbon lined up and hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't get all like, what do they call them, like mixed up. You will need your ribbon. So we're using roughly the same 6. We ran out of the Spooky Eek and Beware, so we're using the Argyle black, purple, and orange in place of that, which is still fine. It's all going to function with the same colors. We are doing the same orange with the polka dots. These are all from Craft Outlet, so if Craft Outlet has them available, that's where you will find them. Orange, black, and green striped, 1.5 inches. We have the purple, orange, and black on green striped. We have the fun chenille purple and black with the lime green. And then we have our Halloween icons. Okay, so we're ready to get started. So hi, Debbie. Elizabeth says, I don't have this bow maker. This is the one that challenges me the most, but it makes the most perfect bows. So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to measure out, and this is 24 gauge wire, because this one's not going to take pipe cleaners. This one's going to work off a floral wire. So I want this one, we're going to go about 24 inches, and we're going to measure out 2 of those. So here's our, I'm using green so it shows up on the screen. You can use any color you'd like. Here's one. So there's our first. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this again. Rolly, 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 rolly. Why can you not like really see that? There you go. Rolly, 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 rolly. All the way out. 24 inches. And we're going to bend this one so it's just in that shape. It's just easier to grab. So we have 2 24-inch pieces of 24 gauge floral wire. You can get that at Hobby Lobby. I was going to say Joann's, Michael's, Walmart, Amazon. That is the size wire that makes it easy for you to grab. And we're going to start on our bow maker. We're going to go ahead and secure our first wire to the board with the very first ribbon. And so if you look at the way the pegs are built, obviously the ones closest to the center are going to be our top bow. So that would be our fun icons. And then the bottom ones here are going to be our 2.5. So either our 2.5 orange with the polka dots or the argyle black, orange, and purple will fall into here. This is our center peg. So this is where, in the Easy Bow Maker and the ProBow, you know how we have the little places where we do the twist and we slide it? This is our twist. So I know it seems complicated right now, but you'll understand once we get going. So we're going to start with the top. In all the other bow makers, we make from the bottom up. So this one's a little bit different. So I'm going to take this off, and remember our tails starting at the top were only 7.5 inches. So we're going to dovetail the ends first. So I need to put that fancy cut on it, which is just bringing the wired edges together, and I'm cutting on the fold down to the wired tip. Okay, from here, I'm going to measure out 7.5 inches because we're trying to replicate my bow recipe on all 3 bow makers. We've done it on the first 2, so we're going to try it here. I've never done this before. So 7.5 inches, I'm going to gather, and this is where we're going to go ahead and start, and we're going to secure our wire. I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do just one quick twist right here, just so that I can actually have that nice and tight. So just one twist. Okay, so we're doing our tails flat. Like I said, picture us building the bow sideways. So when we did it with the Easy Bow Maker and the Bowdabra, we were doing it looking straight down on the bow. This one is seeing things from the side. So the first thing we want to do is secure our tail, because we don't have a tension spring. So we are going to, at the top, going in a clockwise motion, you're going to just wind your wire till you run out. And on the bottom, I'm going to grab this here. And remember that little nail head that I showed you that sticks out of the bottom? That we're going to just wrap around our nail hole. I do about 2 times. And then I'm going to move this to the side so that you can see. I'm going to take this. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to tuck it under so it's out of the way. Okay, now we're ready to make our loop. So we are taking this, we're going over the peg. Okay, here's our first loop. And you can put a good tension on that. Now, every time you get to your center post, you're going to gather, okay, and we're going to twist. People say bottoms up. What that means is where your bottom ribbon is, you're going to bring it up to the top, okay, and you're going to put that twist there. Same twist we do in all the other bow makers. We're going to go up and over. We're around our peg again. From here, we are going to gather, okay, because right now you can see that all of my ribbon print is in the correct order. And I'm going to twist, right, because now we're getting ready to end. This is where wire number 2 comes into play. They call it the helping hand. So we're just going to slide this under, okay, because we need to keep creating that same tension that all the other bow makers make. So I am just putting a slight twist on that, and I'm going to leave one up in the air, and I'm going to leave, it's up in there, and I'm going to leave one down here. So this is going to gather all the ribbon and keep it compressed to the post, because right now we have nothing holding it to the post at all. I am going to gauge this, knowing that this is 7.5 inches. It ends right here at letter D. So I'm going to go up to letter D. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. We're going to dovetail the end, which is wired ends together, cutting from the fold to the wired end. Okay, now we've got first loop done. Super simple, right? You're like, you just lost me at cutting your ribbon tail at 7.5 inches. If I've completely lost you at this point, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Give me a heart and let me know. Something, because then we can slow it down. Or if any of you are a pro at the ProBow, let me know. I am not. So I'm teaching you the cat way. So we've got our first tails here, and obviously you know they're going to get in the way. We're just going to push these up and line them up with our first loops. They're out of the way. We're going to go ahead and take our second one. I'm looking at my bow to try to figure out what did I do second. That is our chenille ribbon. So I'm going to do this one next, according to the last bow we made. I'm going to go ahead and cut that folded end off. Dovetail is simply bringing your wired edges together. And if you're on YouTube, you can zoom in by pinching your screen so that I don't zoom out for you, but if you want to zoom into specifically like what you want to see, just hit the zoom in. Doesn't affect anything on my end. So we're going to cut from the folded side to the wired point. I like mine pretty noticeable. And so we're going 8 inches, right? We're going backwards. The smallest loop was 3.5 inches. And then these were 7.5 inch tails, which means this one's going to be 8 inches. We're going to gather, and just like what we did before, we're going to bring this to the center post, okay? This would be our tension point, but because we have nothing to hold it, we're going to use that helping hand wire. So we want to make sure that we're always keeping that in the same place. We don't want a big zigzag, like I'm going to do some over here and over here. We're trying to keep them lined up as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor that on by using what I call the up and down wire, just to put one twist on it. Okay, so now I can let go. I'm no longer bound to that. I can go answer the phone. I can go get a glass of water. I can go to the restroom. From here, we're going to go to the second peg. So we're on, pretty side is now going to be facing the outside. We're just going to loop it over that pole or peg. We're going to bring that back nice and tight. Right when we get to the center, go ahead and start gathering. Because remember, in all the other bow makers, we do a twist. There's always that twist in the center. So we're going to grab it from the bottom, which means down here. I'm going to flip it up. Okay, right at that center. Going to just kind of hold it towards the, putting tension on that post. I'm going to go up and over my next peg. Going to pull that little tail out of the way. I'm going to bring this all the way back. We're back to the center now. I'm going to go ahead and gather. I'm going to twist. And I'm going to do that little helping hand again, my wire that goes up and down. I'm going to go ahead and put one tight twist there. There's up, here's the down. Looking at this, it ends just a little bit before letter E. So I too am going to end this a little bit before letter E. So dovetail the end, wire edges together, cut from the fold to the center point. Ta-da! Super simple. Ribbon number 2 down. This is called the Terry bow. A Terry bow was just a bow created by Terry Marshall. That's basically 2 loops, 2 tails, 6 ribbons, or then some. So this is a little bit different. So we still have the tails in the way. Just go ahead and push them up. Okay, just like that. And now we're ready for ribbon number 3. How do you like the ProBow, Linda? I like it when I actually sit and work on it a lot. I'm looking at our next ribbon, which looks like it's the spider. Do I have? I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I have enough. Let me see. I think I have like 36 inches of this. So I'm hoping that might be enough just to get this through the last thing. So if I was doing this, I'm looking at 8.5, and 8.5 would make that 19, no, right? 8.5, 8.5 and 8.5, 16, 17 inches. Okay, there's that. And then we have loops. Let's try it. Worst case scenario, I pull it out and we do something else that's in the same color pattern. So I'm just gonna not really secure this on. I will measure it at 8.5. Okay, that would technically go here. All right, here's my tail. Let's go ahead and tie on. Worst case scenario, I have to pull this out. So I'm just gonna go around once. I can even take this if I want and move that. Oh, I'll need it here for a second. So I'm gonna go up and around peg number 3. I don't know, you guys. I'm not going to secure it right here. I'm going to try to do this. I don't know that we'll have enough. Let's see. I think we're going to come up just a touch short. Let me see how long my tail is. No, up and over. I did my twist. I'm bringing this around. I'm going to pinch this together, right? I'm going to use my wire again, the up and down one, because we need to secure that. Just one little twist. And then I'm going to dovetail this. because it just goes to letter D. And there's letter D. So if I bring the original one out, it's a little bit D1/2, which is pretty much right where we're at. So I had just enough to finish that one. I'm going to push that forward. I'm going to push this one forward. There's ribbon number 3. You just take your time. So the great thing is you can always walk away. Now we are going to do the striped. So I don't need the orange and black one. That was my backup in the event that I ran out. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Dovetail our end. I was like, I call them up and down because one's up and one's down. It's just cat logic, right? 9 inches for this one. We're going to bring that to the center peg. I've got it gathered. I'm going to bring them up with a slight twist. We're going over peg number 4. So up and over. And I'm going to bring it back. Right when we get to the center, go ahead and do your gather, gather, gather. Bring it from the bottom to the top with a twist. Then we're going to take this. I'm going to see where this one ends. It's just a little ways past the E. I'm just moving that out of the way. I'm going to go up on my 4th peg. Bring it straight down. Now I can let go of that. Once you get it around your little peg, you're good. Bringing it right to the center. I'm going to flip it upside down with a twist, but I need something to hold it so I can let go. One twist. And then remember, this goes out to the letter E. Just like so. And then I'm going to push that one to the front. Ribbon number 4. 1 and done. Almost out of that. Now we're going to get into the 2.5 inch. And I'm trying to see which one I put first. We did purple. So I'm just going to switch these up. And I'm going to move the purple over here. We're going to do a nice dovetail end on this. It's just a little wider. And you don't have to do it this way. You can do it any way you want. I'm just trying to replicate my same bow. So this one's going to be 9.5 inches. So we're going to gather. I'm going to bring this right to that center peg. I'm going to go ahead and tie that on with our up and down wire. Okay. There's my tail, which is going to go all the way to letter F. I'm going over peg number 5. So just right over the top. Going to bring this to the center. I'm going to go ahead and gather. I'm going to bring the bottom bow up with a twist. Going to press and hold that right to the center. Go ahead and push this out of the way. Once I get this up and over that peg, we'll be good to go. It's just really stiff, the ribbon. So up and over. It's all the glitter. Okay, now that I have it looped on that peg, there's tension there. I can bring this back to the center. I'm going to gather. I'm going to twist. I'm going to take my up and down wire. And I'm going to wire that on there, one twist. And remember this one, we went all the way to letter F. Go ahead and re-spool that. Letter F. Let me just make sure. I'm going to line this up on my 10-inch mark. 9 inches in is right here at the end for letter F. Dovetail the end. Just like so. And we're going to move that into the center peg. Feels like this one's a little longer, because this one goes all the way out. It's just off by a touch. We can fix that. We can remedy that. Okay. Ribbon number 5 done. Now we're going to take our orange polka dot. We're going to start with the dovetail end. Right. Deborah's like, it looks like it's on backwards. We're building it. We are building it backwards from the way that we normally learn, which is from the bottom up. This one is doing it from the top up. Okay, we want 10-inch tail. So I'm going to measure that out. Right here's 10 inches. I'm going to bring that to the center. So I'm going to go ahead and anchor that on, because we have no tension point here. Okay. We're going to loop our tail so it's out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and wrap that around the last portion of our peg. Okay. Bringing it back to the center. Gather right at the center peg. We are now going to bring our ribbon up. Just trying to get that in right orientation. Right there at the center. I'm going to loop that over that peg. Now I can let go, because I have tension on there. Bringing that right to the center. I'm going to gather. I'm going to twist, and I'm going to grab my up and down wire, and I'm going to twist. And then, because I have this center lined up on my 10-inch line, I can bring this out to exactly 10 inches. I can do my dovetail end. And put our dovetail on it. And now we're like technically done. So we've kind of built this in reverse order, but now we have all these wires. So what I want to do right here is just put a couple extra twists on the up and down wire. Okay, we're just going to pull it forward. Now remember the wire that we started with? The one that is wound around the top and the one that's wound around the bottom. I want you to go ahead. We're going to leave these ones here. So you're going to see those are going to stay. I'm going to pull this one off. Just unwind it. Okay, there's the unwound part. I'm going to go ahead and grab that one that we wrapped around the nail head and went under the bow. So now I have those two. Here's my up and down wire. From here, you're going to take this and compress that. Okay. I'm actually going to pull this underneath. So compress as tight as you can. This is where you're going to get those two wires, because those are what is holding the very front to the very back of the ribbon. Give it a couple extra twists. I don't have huge hand strength, but what we're doing is, in a sense, what the Easy Bow Maker and the Bow Dabber are already done. They've been compressing and holding that tension on our ribbon all this time. So now we have all these wires. not to worry. Okay, everything is on here. Everything is perfectly fine. Now, some people do it a different way. They try to lift their ribbons off and try to do it that way. I just find it's easier. Linda, my ProBow is probably from 2018. I don't have letter G in here. So some people have that. I find the easiest way is just to take these out. It's just so much easier. Okay, took all those out. And I'm going to take out the center one. I'm going to push the ProBow out of the way. I'm actually going to move it so it's way out of the way. So this would be the side profile. If we were able to pull our bow out of the Easy Bow Maker or the Bowdabra and turn it sideways, this is what we'd be looking at. The way that we're used to seeing it is like this, right? This is exactly what we've done with the ProBow. That's different. Now we're going to fluff it. So I'm just going to use this on here. I actually used to have a nail that I added in here. Not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go ahead and hook this on those wires that I have attached. Okay. And we're doing the exact same fluff. Here's my wires. They're all still here. I haven't eliminated them. Okay. We're going to still go from the bottom. We're taking our tail and our loop. Okay. Tail goes one way, loop goes the other way. Go to the other side. We've been fluffing these long enough. We know that we're going to go opposite. So we're bringing our tail to the right and our loop to the left. They're still directly opposite each other. Now, we're going to take the next one and go opposite. So we're going to bring our tail to the left and our loop to the right. We're splitting those colors from loops to tails. Whatever we do on this side, we're doing opposite. So my tail's coming to the left. My loop is going to the right. Okay, exact same thing. Looks like the exact same bow. From here, we're going to follow orange. Tail, loop, and you have time right now to just fix any of your pinches that might be there in your loop. I'm going to go to the other side. Here's my tail. Here's my loop. Okay, got those ones down. We're going next ribbon down, right? That's going to be the spider. So spider's going to follow the argyle print. So there's the loop. I have to work it underneath that C hook right there. Here's the loop. Flipping it over. Moving the tail here. Loop here. Same thing. Still got our tails. Still got our loops. Next one, we're going back to following the orange or the stripe. So I'm going to bring my tail over here. Loop technically to the right. It just needs to go under that hook. Go back over here. Tail to the right. Loop to the left. And then finally, we're following the spiders. Loop here. Tail here. Loop. Oops. This one's supposed to go here. This one goes here. Okay. Just like that. So here's our tails. There's our loops. Fluffing it the exact same way. Starting from the top, lift your two. Do the two on the other side. Grab the next two wherever you want to see. Do you want to bring your spiders before, your stripes? I'm going to go a little high with this one. I'm going to bring my stripes in the center. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to move my spiders to the outside. Bring my stripes right up the center. And then at the very bottom, you're going to fluff your last two. Make sure you get those fluffed. You don't want them to look flat. Okay, same thing here. Same thing here. Okay, this is going between these two. That's going between those two. Okay, from here, we're fluffing the tails. Start like our scissors. Our fingers are our scissors. We're going to just drag that through our fingers, and then that's going to put that curl back in. You won't see it as well on the bottom because it's laying flat on a board. Okay. You'd make it look all pretty for all your pictures. Same thing here. Grab your tails, lift, pull, just like so. Yeah, you can see the spider came up just a tad short here. Not to worry. Just like so. Just like so. Again, display all of your ribbons for all their pretty purposes. And that is your bow on the ProBow. Just like so. Same wreath or same bow recipe. So mine is still following the recipe where it comes to the tail length. The loop length is pre-set up on letter C. So same thing. Look, we can bring our sign in. We have the exact same bow. It's all pretty. It's all nice. It's all perfect because every single one of your tail or your loops are perfectly in alignment with the opposite one because they are precise. That's the thing about the ProBow, is its precision in making your loops look flawless. Your whole thing, your role that you play is just make sure you fluff it. Fluff it the way you like to see it. So I like to make sure that there's all the pretty things, just like that. And then, like I said, you can leave it like that. You could add a little decorative piece to the center, a little styrofoam ball, but that is how to make Kat's bow, following Kat's recipe, using the ProBow.